everybody.
Hey!
Yar! We be live.
Ooh, let's go! We do
Today
it
we are
live.
having some technical difficulties.
Heck it, friends. We're doing it live.
We are a little rusty from... Oh, I understand.
Season 2.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. All right, we feel your pain.
Been there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I say, Lisa will be very excited. She already knows, but she'll still be very excited. Yeah. Yeah. Good today.
Pretty good.
We're good. We're here.
It's Price is Right rules. As close without going over.
That's right.
Oh,
That's right.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, that's longer than I think. For our viewing audience, it probably feels like years. Sorry, friends. Ooh, that's fun.
Yeah. Oh, 1 a.m.?
6-hour difference.
1 a.m.?
Ooh, tasty.
1 to 4 a.m., my guy?
Well, I mean, we could always, like, all of us could just, like, be ready to play, like, 6 hours earlier than usual. It should be no trouble. Exactly, yeah. I'll just hop on lunch at work and stay on lunch.
Yeah,
my boss
take some time
does
off.
play
I got
D&D,
PTO
so that
days.
might be a good reason, good enough reason to get out.
There you go.
It'd be fine.
Yeah, it's great.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say we have a last season on D&D. Alrighty then. So we start off with day 1, or as we call it, the lost episode, where Iru was put in the hot box. Morgan intimidated a pirate into peeing his pants. Just wait, that is a continuing theme. Quint ended up in the kitchen and took to the kitchen with Verver. Tazek climbed up to the top of the mast when requested, but Morgan didn't quite, and so Tazek was made a rigger and Morgan a swab. And then when Iru got out of the hotbox, he was shot in the hand. Eldon managed to con his way into the kitchen, and Owlbear pissed in a bottle and gave it to Quint for croup. I know, right? On day 2, Iru was basically handed a mop and told to swab even with his holy hand. Eldon caught some fish. Plug kicked over his fish bucket because Plug is a douche. Quint and Grog began to flirt. Scourge hit on Morgan, but she rebuffed him. Iru was healed by Quint and his... I think you were in the kitchen at the time. You gave him a little healing and helped his hand. We witnessed a keel hulling, and Morgan managed to climb most of the way up the mast, but fell down again. On day 3, we first met Dinner the Chicken. Quint and Eldon's friendship began to blossom in the kitchen. Scourge hit on Morgan yet again. She rebuffed him yet again. Quint cooked the best meal the ship had ever seen, bar none. And Iru swabbed the deck like a machine. We were tasked with cleaning the villages of rats. We fought spiders and dire rats with magic. Oh my. And Tazek got a pair of dire rats for the party's troubles. And managed to convince I believe it was Scourge that the rats were a good idea. Then Eldon and day 3.5, which was the second session for that day. Eldon and Dinner's feud began in earnest. Quint bathed in preparation for his date with Grok. Eldon acted a good wingman and diverted Grok. Storm began to approach the ship. Iru met Crazy and discovered that there was an escape attempt coming. Plug began to investigate Kroop's antics, or rather the fact that he was not so much in the kitchen. And Tazik began to train his rats. But before he could finish training his rats, there was a splash, and he went into darkness. Yeah, that's the right one. On day 4, we found out that Morgan had ended up spending the night with Scourge. Quint spent the night with Grok. And then when when everyone came back up to the top of the deck, there was a keel hulling of one of the people who was trying to escape, and Tazik was beaten and tossed in the hot box for being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Iru volunteered to be whipped instead of Quint, but unusually this didn't stop the whipping, and instead they both got whipped. We met Stitchman the medic, and Stitchman discovered that Quint had some healing abilities that he didn't know of before. Morgan told that everyone that, well, most pirates have a cutlass. Scourge was armed with a little teeny tiny dagger. Of which Scourge never recovered. Iru and Morgan ended up poisoning rats, the small rats and spiders in the bilges. Tazik's rats were knocked out. And then when Tazik was released from the box, he thought that the rats were dead and started going dark. And in his quarters, Tazik found a mysterious stone that was glowing and caused him to speak. And then in the meantime as well, Quint was made the captain's cook because of how good his meals were. On day 5, Tazik was out for blood as he discovered the rats dead from the hot boxing, or while he was in the hot box. Morgan scared Scourge so bad his outie became an innie. Quint took to being the captain's cook, and Eldon took to being the crew's cook, while Kroop slept off a hangover. Not an unusual situation. Iru was tasked with cleaning out normal-sized rats from the villages, and found some living dire rats, which he told Quint about, and then Quint and Iru both told Tazik that his rats were indeed alive. Quint also healed them up so that they were not quite so dark off there. Quint and Tazik had a moment, and Morgan fed owlbears, then climbed the mast like a boss, but then on her way down ended up falling from the top of the mast. Iru was tasked to dine with the captain. We just assumed he died after this, but he actually came out okay. We did find out that the captain had one of the 9 pieces of 8 in his possession, but we didn't know what he wished to do with it. And then on Iru's way out, he helped catch Morgan, I believe it was. And then we sailed into a fog bank, and a shout. There was a shout that we were being boarded to hide the contraband. Or sorry, there was a shout that we were about to be boarded, and to hide the contraband. And then we discovered that a ship was following us. The next day we discovered the ship was following us. The halflings were the contraband, and Owlbear raged a little bit. While Tazik managed to convince Grok to get him a rifle, and he went up to the top of the crow's nest. The next day, we discovered that a Cheliax ship was following us. And Quint recognized the banner of the ship as being that of a admiral he knew the information of. And we found out that it was Tempest Thorn, the Cheliax admiral. And
Admiral Thorn.
He came out and intimidated the crap out of all of our officers. Morgan was taking notes at this point, I believe. And then a creepy guy named Plague Bearer crossed the ship and touched Plug in a very non-consensual way.
Technically correct.
The Cheliax ship disgorged a bunch of zombie-like halflings to our ship, and they began to search, although one was less zombie-like and more childlike. Um, the captain and Plug went aboard the enemy ship to talk with Thorn. I put in one was Oliver Twist's shorter, more malnourished cousin. And that was Spook.
That's saying something.
Please, sir, may I have some more beatings? Bear went down below decks, smacked Owlbear, and then shook some dirt off his cloak above where our halfling crew was hiding before going back up to the gangplank, while Tazik and Plaguebearer had a staring contest. And then Plaguebearer all of a sudden yanked the gangplank back and told the halflings that were on our ship to kill us all. There was a battle where plenty of things happened. Tazik and Eldon held their own quite strongly. The crew did some damage, but we learned that not killing them with fire it meant that they would come back. So Morgan decided to just burn the crap out of them and went to find fire, while Tazik was dispatching as many as he could. And Eldon was using holy magic, which was quite effective as well. Quint hopped out of the hiding hole to help out and managed to mind control the Oliver Twist halfling into fighting his allies. Although it didn't take much, because really, who doesn't hate the people you're enslaved with? And then our ship was magically kicked in the butt, and we hit hyperspeed and ran away from the Cheliax ship. Morgan began to just torch all of the bodies. We discovered that Sly is very, very weird, and Plug came racing out of the ship's officers' quarters, screaming, and then fell on the deck in a heap, seemingly infected. And in our next session, Tazik and Eldon brought Stitchman out to help Plug, and they were tasked with bringing him into the officers' quarters. Eldon spoke to the malnourished halfling and found out that he's not undead, but he doesn't have a name yet. That might have been Quint. I might have took that down wrong.
Yeah, I think that was Quint.
Morgan ended up naming the child Spook because he was a little on the odd side of things. Grok and Quint flirted some more, but it seemed to be that neither of their hearts or private parts were in it. We discovered the Sly is indeed still crazy. Quint spoke with the weaponry officer trying to discuss the halfling, and she told him that the child better be working by tomorrow and brushed him off. Morgan scared the eye patch off crying when she also vouched for the child to survive. Quint went and healed Owlbear because really, we like Owlbear. And we heard Plugs screaming and thrashing in the officers' quarters along through the night. The next day, day 6 on the Wormwood, Eldon was tasked with catching turtles to feed the captain, as the turtles are his favorite meal. Quint was tasked with preparing a feast and getting a pig to cook for the post-battle feast. Morgan found that Spook is a natural deck swab as he went about cleaning the deck better than any before him. Eldon got tied up by ratline and tossed in the water. Quint discovered that the pig wrangler is named Tam and didn't want to give up any one of his pig wives. Tam is also crazy. Quint and Tam argued and then set about a wrestling match to decide who wins. And everyone except for and literally everyone except for Eldon came over to watch it. Eldon, who was in the water catching turtles at the time, and Quint set about singing a song as they wrestled together in what was probably not mud, but looked like mud on the surface of the pig pen. Yeah.
Very exfoliating. Oh, Quint's skin, flawless afterwards.
Eldon caught a whole small raft worth of turtles, but struggled to swim back to the ship as the rope that he was strung out on began to fray along the barnacles on the hull. Tazik, Iru, and Morgan all ended up helping Eldon get back aboard the ship as Quint wrestled with Tam until Croup and Grok snuck behind them and pulled a pig out of the pen. And then Quint very gently gave up and said, "Okay, you win. I won't take any of your wives." And Tam said, "Darn right you won't." Yeah, and then Tazik, Iru, and Morgan helped Eldon back up aboard the ship before the rope gave way. Quint convinced Iru that a cut he got from Sly was infected and he needed to kill the poison, so he cut away the wound and then poured alcohol on it.
And I'll say it wasn't Quint that cut away the wound and poured alcohol on it. That was entirely self-done.
He's not a doctor.
Hashtag not a doctor.
Not a doctor.
Then Eldon and Quint cooked an amazing feast, and they bonded even further by Quint joining with Eldon through the power of his princess. And the next half of that. Oh, yes.
I just have so much love and life to give and share.
Yes.
Yeah.
We prepared for the feast with tables being brought out on top of the ship, and chatted amongst ourselves. Jack, the young child of the first officer, Owlbear, Quint, and Eldon brought the feast above decks and began to serve. The captain decided that really he wasn't feeling like turtle stew today, and Eldon quietly snapped sticks underneath the table. The captain gave a speech that basically said, "Plug was dying, Krine's now the first officer, and I need a new gunnery officer, so Tazik, you're up," to everyone's surprise, including Tazik's, especially Tazik's. Everyone congratulated Tazik while he was shell-shocked. The captain spoke to Spook and scared the tar out of him, so Quint, in passing, boasted about Spook's fighting the Cheliax zombie halflings, and seemed to convince everyone that he might be worth keeping around. Iru began to inexplicably feed bottles of alcohol to Croup one after the other. Quint linked up with Iru, Morgan, Quint later, after there was an altercation with dinner, Eldon and Quint too, that was just chef's kiss. I highly recommend anyone wondering watch that episode, because it was pretty spectacular. But later, Quint went down to the galley. Iru, Morgan followed him, so he linked up with them, and then Tazik came in after, and Quint decided that Iru might be a little on the dangerous side to be life linked to, so he dropped that link and linked with Tazik instead. Because I'm pretty sure he's like, "Oh, cool, I can't die." He started stabbing himself.
Yep.
I'm talking about his character.
Just limit testing.
No, and that's kind of our point, though, is that he's not here.
Dinner and Eldon had another staring contest. We partied pretty hard. And, Grok, I'm pretty sure, kidnapped Quint by throwing him over her shoulder, and went below decks as Quint salutes and says, "Duty calls, boys." Disappears below decks, and Sly is still crazy.
Mm-hmm.
How about batshit insane?
I don't understand her.
It's true. None of us understand her. Stabbing, licking the knife, threatening Iru, although really that's just, yeah, I think we all have. Lots of love to Iru. Genuine. Love him dearly. Great comic relief. The next day we woke, and Tazik went to the guns and began salivating at having control over them, and got to work. Quint woke up the little spoon to Grok and found dinner coming over to say hi. Um, so Quint gave him a little bit of food, and they went out to the galley to begin the day. Morgan was assigned to the crow's nest by Scourge now that Tazik isn't up there, and she caused him significant emotional damage again. Dinner and Eldon's feud continued to simmer, much like the day's stew. Tazik claimed a bunch of material from Grok, as his new officer status meant that he got access to the stores. Morgan discovered something following us, so she told Scourge, who screened for all hands to weapons. Then a giant pterosaur, accompanied by a bunch of little pterosaurs, landed on the. Oh, sorry, the little pterosaurs landed on the deck. The giant pterosaur just circled around with someone upon it. And then we began to fight. Tazik, Eldon, Morgan, Quint all held their own well and dispatched plenty of the little beasts. However, some larger ones came about the decks, in between the big one and the tiny ones in size. One of them grabbed Ratline, another grabbed young Jack. Tazik shot both of them, causing Jack to fall into the water and Ratline to fall into the deck. The third dinosaur that grabbed Rosie Cuswell and began to fly away. Morgan tried to convince it not to and managed to cause it to drop Rosie from a height. Morgan epically dive rolled and caught her in the manner as she fell. Then Tazik was pressured by another one of the large creatures, and then decided, instead of reloading his gun and getting attacked, to jump off the ship to save young Jack, the young mate. And then during this time, we basically dispatched all of the other creatures. Tazik killing one, and Eldon killing, I believe, two of them afterwards. And Quint dispatching the last few little ones with his crossbow. Pterosaurs.
Yeah, pterosaurs.
I
Let us
wrote
be
dinosaurs and remembered to change the name.
believed.
Then the next session, Quint congratulated Morgan on her daring save of Rosie Cuswell. Eldon and Quint began to gather the corpses and prepare them as food. Tazik helped Stitchman with Ratline, and they both took him down to Quint to quietly use his skills to heal the besodden, I think, human named Ratline. Rosie panicked. Oh, okay. Yeah, Rosie was panicking after the situation, so Morgan smacked some sense into her, and she began to recover herself after having an angry outburst. Yeah, Quentin saved Ratline. He muttered a brief thank you and went back to the crow's nest. While Quint and Tazik complimented each other's skills. And then when Tazik left, Quint and Eldon complimented each other's skills, because we are a mutual admiration society. And Sly is still crazy, but we learned she may carry a powerful dagger. The captain took Quint aside and said that he might need his skills later, even if Quint still wants to escape, and warned him that there's an informant amongst the crew. Dun, dun, dun. Morgan pushed the large pterodon creature overboard that Scourge was struggling with, and he just did a very sad, slow walk away.
No game? Yeah.
Tangled with the wrong woman.
Hell hath no fury like a Morgan scorned. And then gambling happened as everyone celebrated being alive, and we found that Quint thinks Grok might be the informant the captain spoke of. Day number 8 on the Wormwood. Eldon fed Owlbear in the morning, and he was extra touchy. As he was a little extra touchy. And then as Eldon was walking away, he got a crab shell to the back of the head, so Eldon just gave him some more crabs. Quint went through the exact same thing with Owlbear, but discovered that Owlbear had a shard of crab shell shoved in his jaw that was causing him pain. So Quint pulled it out and healed him and helped him to feel better, and the big galoot seemed to appreciate that. He's still demanding crabs, but Tazek went to work on the cannons and decided to try to teach Tam Tate how they worked. This was not a success, as Tazek is not a good teacher and Tam is an idiot. I made him dead. Yeah, dun, dun, dun. Morgan comforted Spook as he woke up in the morning screaming, and then laughed at Tazek attempting to teach the pigminder how to do anything around guns. Quint and Grok shared a moment, and he got a fishing rod and a pouch of his for his troubles. Croup and Quint spoke briefly. Croup punched Quint for stealing the kitchen. This is in the kitchen. And Quint said he was happy that Croup got out of the bottle, but Croup didn't appreciate that either. He hung up his apron and left the kitchen, retiring from cooking as Quint went above decks to fish. Eldon, in one of the more spectacular moments, told Dinner not to fuck around because he doesn't have time for this shit, and began to cook. The bird seemed mollified by this and just sat on a bag of flour. Morgan got sent to the box for scaring all of the officers, especially Scourge. She went without a fuss, knowing that she would intimidate the box and be fine anyways. Tazek finally learned the last sailor's name on the ship. Cog was the abusive, silent, or mostly silent sailor, and Tazek 100% abused his officer power for this. There was much rejoicing. Eldon cooked. Yep, my entire 3.5 days. Eldon cooked away the evening meal while Dinner watched him. But Eldon did take a moment to go to Grok to see if he could get a pouch from her, and he palmed a scroll at the same time. Quint spotted a ship while fishing, and the rest of the crew seemed to begin to see it too, and there was excitement that began. And then we get to the next session, where Quint is telling everyone about the ship on the horizon, and then he went back into the galley to tell our gang, but he was met by Croup on the way back down. Croup and Quint spoke about the day. Quint sort of apologized, and Croup seemed interested in helping him bring the fish to the galley, but he tripped Quint up the stairs instead. Sandara Quinn bitch slapped Croup right upside the head and then went to help Quint. Morgan began to plan her escape from the box by learning that one of the hinges was loose. Quint told Tazek of the ship, and Tazek rushed to get the cannons ready as the ship and us were closing fairly rapidly together. Grok and Quint shared a quick smooch, and Grok told Quint that she wasn't leaving and gave him a locksmithing kit as a going-away present. Quint and Eldon bonded more in the galley as Quint told Eldon of the ship, and they spoke of cooking. Quint opened up and showed some true emotion by telling Eldon how much he hated Croup for wasting his life and wasting the appreciation of drink. Eldon decided to make a strong barrel of grog for the ship to prepare for battle. Eldon and Dinner had a standoff in the galley while Quint was off fetching a barrel of water, and I believe there was lightning that was almost exchanged, but Dinner retreated from the galley to fight another day. Tazek sent Tam, the gunner's mate, Tam and the gunner's mate on errands, and then began to rig one of the cannons to blow. Quint came over and to give him a hand as Owlbear watched Tazek with a growing look of fear and just exhaustion with life. Also, afterwards, Gipper Tibbs brings Tazek's rats out of the bilges, as that was their task. Quint enlisted Spook's help with a barrel of grog, and the two halflings managed to get into the galley. Spook began to treat Quint like his father, and after Quint gives him some food, but then after a little while goes, "Psych, I was just joking," and buggers off. Eldon and Quint made 2 barrels of grog, one with poison added into it and one without, to divvy him up amongst the crew. The captain made a rousing speech before giving Tazek the lead of the attack and letting Morgan out of the hotbox, handing her a pistol and telling her to bring the enemy captain to him. And as we were drifting off to sleep, Eldon got pecked in the face by Dinner, and he was given an Ioun stone before Dinner disappeared into the dark.
and pecked me in the forehead. What do you mean? Nah, that was stomping on my chest. Then I woke up, I was given the stone, then got a peck in the forehead, and then he left. Sure.
Sure.
Then we awoke. Quint and Eldon began to give grog to the crew, the good stuff to us, and the slightly poisoned one to the rest of the crew to keep them off balance. Tazik decided to take Morgan, Quint, Eldon, Rosie, and Sandara to attack the enemy ship, but planned to somehow figure out a way to take Spook and Owlbear too. Quint rigged the shackles, holding Owlbear to break at a sharp tug. We all got ready to fight and finish preparations as we closed on the ship. It was heavily laden with gold. Morgan went to Grok to get some of her materials back. She got her stuff and also found Grok's bag of holding and pocketed it, and then left the quartermaster's office. Tazik fired a few warning shots at the enemy ship as they closed, and then fired an extremely accurate shot that decapitated the enemy captain before he even got a chance to do anything. Nope. I think Fancy Pants may have screamed something like, "You killed my father," but I don't think he said anything in a name. Quint and Croup had a moment before, a genuine moment where they kind of apologized to each other again before we engaged the enemy. And Quint managed to take get some of his lost belongings from Grok's office. We closed to knife fighting distance and cast out a boarding ramp to engage the enemy as Morgan terrified the crap out of everyone on their ship and ours. Tazik shot several of them at a distance, as did Rosie and Quint. Eldon went aboard to engage as Morgan began to take some pretty hard hits from the enemy as she was first one on board across the planks. We engaged the poor merchants, but they kind of seemed like dicks, so it's okay in the end, and traded blows with them. Morgan took the brunt of the enemy attacks, but Rosie also took some hits from their first officer and went down, along with most of the enemy crew. Eldon finished off the first officer with a lightning bitch slap, and that was the end for the poor merchants on board the Besmara's pleasure. Harrigan threw Sandara off the ship before we could do anything due to cowardice, and then we began to loot the merchant ship. Once the ship was pretty much fully looted, Harrigan gave the captain's spot on the new ship to Plug, as Plug emerged from the cabin, half mushroomed and looking a bit worse for wear. Our crew was given over to them and we also convinced the captain to let us have Spook and Owlbear on board ship. And as we began to sail away, Eldon communicated to the gunner's mate Kipper, and asked them to fire off the last cannon, Tazik's little surprise, to prevent it actual accidental discharge and damaging of things. And we watched in the distance as the wormwood sank below the waves under a roiling cacophony of explosions, as the stone in Tazik's pocket glowed warmer and warmer and shouted, "You bastard!" And then we faded into darkness. And then, on day 0 on Besmara's pleasure, Plug watched the wormwood sink below the waves, and we just stood around kind of waiting for him to respond. Then Quint tried to convince him that we didn't have anything to do with the sinking of the wormwood. And he kind of was mollified and went off to the side. We all looked at each other. There was a collective passing between each other of, "Are we going to do this?" And the answer was yes. Yes, we were. Tazik asked Plug what rats liked best about explosions. The answer was the debris everywhere. And then he shot the temporary captain in the face, hitting him solidly, but there was no blood, and his wound healed quickly. And then the battle was upon us. We traded blows back and forth. Tazik shot Plug until his gun ran dry. Eldon screamed at him and stunned him as Morgan terrified the living and unliving tar out of him. And then Plug managed to get a couple of turns where we were unable to stun lock him into non-existence, and then managed to get some good swings against us before we maneuvered him into such a way that Eldon just bitch slaps him in the face with 1,000,000,000 volts of electricity, and he fades off into darkness. And then before we sailed off into the sunset, we discovered that Morgan had heard of a sound below decks, a whimpering of a child. So we find a hidden compartment where a woman and her son were trapped. We approached the woman and said that we didn't wish to harm her. Tazek ended up giving her some gold, and Morgan and actually, I think it was just Morgan. I don't think Eldon or Gwent did much to convince her. But Morgan convinced her that we didn't want to harm her and we'd see her safe off to Port Peril. She asked if we killed her husband, and then she said, good, spit on his corpse, and then we were okay. And we sailed off into the sunset towards Port Peril and our next adventure. I tried to hit all the heights. There's a lot that I had to leave out for the fact that I didn't want to spend an hour talking, but yeah.
This kind of occurred to me as we were obviously talking about everything. We had mentioned that the captain had said that there was an informant, and I believe we, not as characters but as the audience, we came to learn it was Tazek. Is that correct? That's pretty tasty. I like it.
Can I do the out of character deal? So the out of character situation was the stone was an enchantment to cause Tazek to spill his guts basically anytime he was alone. So
fascinating.
Probably noticeable in hindsight, but after Tazek rigged the explosion, like the cannon, he very deliberately did not spend any time alone until we left the ship.
That's interesting. Hold it close to your chest.
That worked out well.
No, could you imagine? Ugh, gross.
Lame.
Nah, overrated. Oh, on that note,
could you imagine trying to bamboozle everyone to joining a cult, and they're all just like, "Nah, we're in."
Yeah, right. Let me tell you about this deed. Oh no, you're
say less.
All the loot, drinks, and healing you can want. Yar.
Oh, I was just going to say, on that note, now that we've made it back to Port Peril, I think it's safe to say this is what our characters are doing.
Yeah.
Oh,
nice. Best one yet. Best one. So good.
For all the viewers on Twitch, that's water.
Yes. This is apple juice. Mm-hmm. I've removed the sugar from the apple juice, though. Don't do sugar, kids. Yes, that's right. It's a special apple juice made primarily from sugarcane.
Yes,
that's exactly. Right. It's 100% GMO, apple GMO free.
Apples are actually one of the more genetically modified fruits out there. But it's all like mixing strains of.
So it is remarkable then that this apple juice is 100% GMO apple free.
It's very impressive.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Certainly not.
we'd like to be, but
Also, on that note, I just got to ask, sorry, Do, Mr. GM, you were mentioning that some of these programs you can listen back to them and watch them. Where would someone go to watch these episodes of season 1? YouTube, I see. Well, if I were to navigate to, say, https://www.youtube.com, what channel would I be looking for? Let's throw dice, you
throw
say?
dice.
Well, hold on. Is that spelt like how it sounds? Amazing. I see.
Pluggy, plug.
Yeah, that's perfect. It's extra silent. Wow, that's remarkable. Well, when I get the time, I think I'm going to take some time to watch these episodes because it sounds like you put a lot of effort into this. Wow. Wow, I got to say, I am sold. Mm.
The lost episode.
I mean, to be fair,
Man.
that was
To be fair,
like you were running off of half your RAM.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
If
mean,
only we. Sorry.
No, I was just saying, I mean, we could totally. You might even try it again because there was definitely some hindrances back then that you don't have now.
I mean,
It's true. That's good. Well,
Right.
you hit record, right?
If could we have a place in the future that we could just upload these lost episodes to? Maybe somewhere that could have some kind of bonus content. What? That's a thing? Patreon? Tell me more, DM.
Oh man,
Come check out our Patreon.
He's making me have to get my other background out. Hold up.
Here comes the money. Yes.
Yo, facts
Actually,
though.
correct.
Yo, facts
Kids
though.
are not cheap.
Wait till they start playing sports. You're in hell.
Yeah, then she's gonna buy all the anime
yeah.
swag, and that costs even more.
See?
Yes.
Right, because that's how that
Totally.
works.
Yeah.
Hey, you'll be all right. We'll get there. Oh.
Nice
Yep.
segue.
Hey.
Yes.
Phew.
Yeah. Yeah, very much so. I think Quint spent about 2.5 months, in and around Port Peril. He was hired on at the Formidably Made about a month and a half before the sorry lot stepped into the tavern, I suppose. And I gotta say, if I can, Quint is simultaneously overjoyed at this development and extremely unsettled. It's a dream come true, and it makes no sense. Yeah. Sure. All right. So I think it was a bit of a bittersweet finding himself back in Port Peril. I'd like to imagine he kind of spent a little bit of time wandering some of the less clandestine districts before finally making his way back to the old workplace of the Formidably Made. I think he probably spent a little bit of time kind of scouting around, checking the clientele before he stepped in. And truthfully, too, I should mention we all came back into town loaded with lots of bank. So as soon as Quint kind of realized that, it's amazing. That's so funny. Hey kids, there's a video portion to this. You should come check it out. Let's throw dice.
Let's go.
Yep.
Ish.
7-ish Eastern Standard Time.
And one day, possibly on
Oh.
podcast.
Yeah. That's fair. I think Quint spent a bit of time kind of scouting out the areas, more or less kind of getting used to the town again. He, unsurprisingly, has gotten quite proficient at being a bit of a vagrant that people kind of ignore. But I think he pretty quickly tunes in. He probably goes to some of his previous plugs to score some to spend some of these heavy pockets. And I think it becomes very evident that the people that he previously would be speaking with just have no recollection of him. And like I mentioned, like it's a bit of a blessing and a curse. So I think after spending a couple days a little confused about it, once he's feeling confident that people truthfully don't know him, I think he starts putting a little more effort into his physical appearance. He starts spending a little bit more money. Obviously, his first week, he worships in his own way, and several aggressive hangovers later. I think he decides to start peacocking a little more. So he's invested in some nicer wear. He keeps the same worn down, tattered rags in his backpack just in case. But he is actually kind of letting himself enjoy having money, and I feel like maybe I should explain this a little more adequately. But he spent the past decade more or less pretending, like doing everything in his power not to draw attention, but something about slaughtering a few people out on the ocean and more or less living out some of his wilder fantasies, he's feeling a lot more confident, and as a result, he's presenting himself as definitely not a captain. He's not presenting himself as anyone of notoriety, but he's making it clear that he's got a little bit of money to spend. I would assume maybe as dumb as it is, he's probably staying at the Formidably Made. I think that there's a reason why, of all the shitty places he could work at, he ended up going for the Formidably Made. Mostly it's because there's a lot of exits, but also there's a little bit of it's not quite nostalgic because it's only been like a month, but it kind of feels nostalgic. I also think he's been spending a lot of his time at the docks, just kind of seeing what various traders kind of bring in with their haul. Because again, he's got some coin to spend, and I think over the time he's collected a few fun little trinkets. Yeah. I will also mention he's been keeping in touch with the rest of the crew. Of course, in particular, Eldon. I think he's something about Eldon. He's like, yeah, that's my bro. I'll stick around with him. But yeah, he kind of keeps tabs on people. Make sure if he catches wind of anyone skipping town, he's gonna see if he can hop on a boat with them.
Hello. So actually, I was gonna say, at what point did we discuss? Because we as a team, we've obviously out of a character, we've discussed the ship and our purpose on the ship and our role that we're gonna take on the ship. Was that something we? I guess it's more of a question for the party, but did we do that on our way back to Port Peril at the beginning of our time off, or is that something we're establishing like before we head back out on the water? Because that might affect slightly what Eldon was doing during his time off.
Yeah, like we probably would have had the ship docked in port, right, for the past month. Like, yeah. So I mean, there'd be lodging there as well. Not comfortable, but lodging.
Hmm. Yeah. Like was it at the beginning of our month off that we discussed what we were going to do when we got back on the ship? Did we discuss who was, who's navigating, who's driving, who's captain, who's doing what on the ship? Did we discuss that on the way into port, while we were at port, on the way back out?
Yeah. Yeah. That would have been what Tazik would have probably likely preferred.
Right, it's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Which yeah, that kind of implies a little bit what Eldon is going to be doing during his time off. So I think one of the key things Eldon wanted to do during our time off was similar to Quint, troll around, watch the ships coming and going, look for some particular merch that he had his eyes after. That if he could track some down, he was going to, and eventually did track down some interesting merch that caught his eye. But being that Eldon had kind of volunteered to take on the role of quartermastery, the first probably week or so, maybe even 2 weeks that we were back, were probably spent, as he's milling around the merchants, he's also selling off, trading, and liquidating all the goods we were trying to get rid of in order to all have our shares of gold to sell off, to do our shopping with. So that was probably the first week or so. Eldon was just kind of shilling out everything we found and getting what he could for it, and then handing out chunks of coin to the gang as he ran into them, and then monitoring the merchant ships, looking for what he's up to. And the one thing Eldon really did want to acquire was look into getting some form of whatever there might be for some form of paperwork or some form of thing that might validate us as a merchant ship in some fashion, some kind of vessel identification, vessel registration, whatever we got to do to kind of make ourselves a legitimate merchant sailing vessel. It doesn't have to be answered tonight, but that's something Eldon would have probably spent the better part of a week, obviously, with a bit of running around, a bit of bureaucracy, whatever else. He's probably spent a bit of running around trying to get that organized. If there's any cost associated, we'll have to think about that, but yeah, naturally. Linguistics would be like forgery, right? And then knowledge local might tell us if there is such a thing that we would need to get. Right. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Altered,
adjusted.
tweaked. And so conveniently enough with that, when we kind of gained our strength a little bit, Eldon was practicing some interesting magical techniques on the ship and discovered he has the ability to erase bits of magical and non-magical text. So if anyone were inclined to help me with a forgery, I could easily remove the existing text, leaving us plenty of room to write in our own. Would be.
Do I sense a
So
mission into the Merchants Guild to find a piece of paper?
So that's something definitely that Eldon would have been concerned about, considering, I guess for the audience's sake, we might want to take a minute and go through our roles as well. But Eldon was nominated / volunteered for the roles of both captain and quartermaster. So as acting captain in mostly a figurehead position, as we're kind of agreed to be a bit of a council when it comes to decision making. But in a figurehead role as the captain, he does want to make sure that if we ever get stopped and someone questions us, we're kind of on the up and up, in case we come up against a ship that we don't feel like tussling with.
Makes sense.
No, probably not. But just little healthy paranoia. Oh yeah, yes, I am. Listen, these things are only going to help.
Yeah.
That's the point. I can maybe do 90%, but the papers are really the deal. It's the seal the deal thing we need.
Listen, if anything, just put Morgan at your side. She'll intimidate whoever doesn't want to listen.
That's right. Yeah, if they're not falling for the bluff, Morgan will step up and go, "We're not bad.
Yeah.
Goodbye," and they'll just leave. That was kind of what I was thinking. Is Eldon spent some time obviously doing his merching stuff, doing his bits of shopping, and investigating what kind of thing, because Eldon coming into this was not very knowledgeable about the pirate's life or the sailor's life at all. So just getting a kind of feel for what we would need to identify ourselves as a merchant should we get stopped by someone who's going to give us a hard time. So bit of research in days, bit of running around, maybe catch up with Quint one day talking about it and realize he's got some talent for replicating handwritings. And so maybe we identify some documents that we found on board or fabricate our own. Eldon can clear off any existing text, and Quint can maybe replicate some new stuff for us.
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah.
Definitely didn't plan this like an hour and a half ago, like before we started. But anyway, no, yeah, it's great. It all kind of fell into place, and that as soon as Quint mentioned he was taking some linguistics, that was the sweet end of the deal that did not actually get planned, but totally works out in our favor. And then I think the only other thing Eldon would have been doing is probably catching up with Tazik at some point, because we were looking to acquire some defenses for our ship. And so having liquidated a lot of our funds, I would have met up with Tazik and worked with him to acquire what he determined were some appropriate arms to protect ourselves in emergencies.
Crafting, yes. I don't know if we ever covered the crafting siege weapons part of things. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. And Tazik might have to.
I think they're technically firearms, so I think it qualifies more or less.
Tazik might have to borrow like a
but probably
blacksmith's like facility in town, but yeah, okay. I think Kazak's then gonna make 2 6-pounders and a 3-pounder and aim the 3-pounder forward.
How much did the 3-pounder cost? Because I think we had allocated funds for the 6-pounders, not the 3.
6-pounder was $250, I want to say. The 3-pounders,
Let me just
$250.
double
The 6-pounders are $500, I think, with the crafting.
Okay, we allocated 1,000 gold for the 2 6-pounders, so I'll knock off another 250 for the 3.
Yeah, that way we have a gun when we're chasing something, and then a somewhat respectable broadside when we're not.
Okay, there we go. Adjusted.
Yep. So you remembered Kazakh and True Strike with it.
Coochie-coo.
That's pretty hot.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm. Jesus.
Sounds
Mhm.
good.
I think that's it for Eldon. Eldon was just filling responsibilities and spending a lot of his time handling money and distributing money. You know, do what I must.
Yeah, I truthfully, I might need to double check, but I believe I was surgeon and cook. Mechanically speaking, garbage, but very fun.
Hmm.
Exactly.
Okay, so Morgan actually stayed quite close to the ship because why pay for boarding when there's a ship? And also didn't want it to get stolen because being a pirate, she's kind of paranoid. So she acquired some new shinies. She got some new armor and weapons and a couple other tricks up her sleeve to use for later. Probably spent a bit of time drinking, having fun. But she was also spent part of that time actually teaching Spook how to use a knife. Rule number one being stick with the pointy end. I don't know. I don't know. You tell me.
What? Spook is 100% original concept. I don't know what you're getting at.
Yep.
100%.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah, and in terms of ship roles, I believe we went with Navigator. She has this very handy ability where she does not get lost at sea.
Oh, of course.
Oh, yeah. Of course.
Listen, we don't know. That might be very important one day.
Certainly not.
It's actually currently sitting at a +8.
The three characters with low strength all just cringed really bad. 3 out of 4 characters with low strength. Oh.
The Dinosaur Temple.
Don't forget the Lost Forest.
Of course. Well, that's a different
important.
place. That's
I had
the
to do
Dino
it. It was
Temple
important.
is not there. Interesting.
He's got to be in the region.
No, I think that'd be it. Probably helping the guys get the cannons loaded when time came.
Probably wise, because Tasik is very small.
I was gonna say I don't think anybody else has the strength to pull those cannons up.
No. What, orc? No. We have an owlbear.
I was gonna say actually, yeah, we have an owlbear.
Bro, we have an owlbear. We don't need an orc.
Plus, knowing our luck, if we find
that's fudging the numbers.
Knowing our luck, if we find the nearest orc, the name is The Rock, and it's Grok's sister or brother.
Yeah.
Okay.
Quinn says,
Go
"Say
on."
less."
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, facts. Facts.
Yeah.
What was that you were saying about literary references, but cinematic references?
There we go.
Hi guys, Korg.
We didn't give out enough pamphlets. Yeah, screw you, Ghost.
Yeah. Hi guys, I'm Korg.
Hey guys, I'm Cork. This is me.
I'm Grok's sister. Nope, brother. Shit.
It's gender bent, therefore it can't be copyright.
Yeah. 100%. It's the magic of rocks, really. It can be anything you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Dwayne.
Yeah. Rock the Rock Roxon.
Dwayne Johnson is a Disney princess.
This is true.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
The House of Mouse will get you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Policed by the Rat King.
Don't let up my plans.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Pirate game.
Yar.
Yar. Gar.
So Tazek would have spent the month that we were off mostly staying around the ship. He would have gone out to make some purchases and get himself geared up a little bit better. He would have also taken the time to start getting into weapon crafting inside of the ship and probably borrowing a forge somewhere within the city for a couple of gold to work on some cannons. His major two focuses would have been getting the ship fully up and running, ready to actually have battle, putting the cannons on, fixing any damage that we created during the the battle with the merchants, cleaning up bodies, that sort of thing. And then he would have also spent the month teaching Spook how to actually use a gun and shoot one, with the intention that one day Spook could actually be a, useful member of a boarding party. And Tazek would have worked on acquiring enough crabs to feed Owlbear a consistent basis to make sure that our muscle is made happy. Oh yes, and Tazek's role in the ship is gunner's mate and firefighter, and so he'll be moving around a lot. And then the only other thing, I don't know if you want to do it in roleplay or not, is Tazek was going to get Morgan's help with a errand he had to run and some terrifying of creatures. Yeah, we can do it on camera. Yeah. One day on Besmara's pleasure. I almost said the Wormwood. That would have been bad.
One day on
Just rename it the Wormwood.
Wormwood Junior.
Hey, Nobody knows the wormwood exploded. We just convince everyone that we're the wormwood.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, give it the exact same paint job and everything.
It's a quarter of the size, but we'll make it work.
Yeah. Just guys, it's simple. Eldon can just gaslight them all. Eldon will bluff them all. I'll just gaslight them all that no, it's the same ship. It definitely was always this size. You're crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't even know us, dude. What are you talking about? But that's actually an interesting question. So if they don't remember us, do they remember the wormwood? Do they know of the ship?
Mm.
So if we happen to ask, what do you mean? We were on the wormwood. Like, do they recognize the name, the wormwood?
Mm.
Interesting. Very
Do
interesting.
they recognize the name of the Besmara's pleasure? Okay.
Doubly interesting. Got it.
All right.
Noted.
So one day on Besmara's pleasure, Tazik's going to come up to Morgan and go, Morgan, I don't ask many people for help, but I could use your assistance in a task I have to do in town if you'd be willing.
Morgan's probably slightly hungover and whatnot, but agrees to go with you.
Perfect. I am going to roll knowledge local to find. I will take a 26 to find the best place to find a ship heading towards the Assassin's Islands. Northwest of the Eye of.
Abendeo.
Yes, that's the one. The Storm Eye. It's off the map here. Oh. Perfect. Yeah. All right. Tazza goes up to one of the like a ship that he's identified and asks for if there's someone who's willing to take a message to someone in a package. Yeah. Perfect. Tazik nods and goes, "What's your fee?"
Whew.
I'm just going to note that Morgan is probably standing close to and or behind Tazik, a la anime style. I'm picturing kind of like the black dark shadow. Okay, I don't know. I've never seen that one, but
I'm picturing Death
just
Note.
that kind of general, yeah, Death Note more likely. And she's not going to be doing much, but she will definitely have a intimidating presence around her as soon as the price is mentioned.
Yeah, that tracks.
Yeah. Um,
Tell him the pun you told Plug.
Tazik puts 2 platinum pieces on the desk and a box and says, 2 platinum pieces, no pun. And if I hear that this box did not reach its intended recipient, he puts a note with a house address and a name in the one city on the Assassin's Island. He says, if I hear that it doesn't reach its intended destination, and believe me, I will find out. My associate here will pay you a visit, and I believe she has a tendency of ripping legs off of and arms off of people she doesn't like.
Morgan's also going to lean in and say, I also like to remove the heads.
It's going to be so much better.
Nah.
Oh, love to see it.
Oh.
Tazik just turns to Morgan and goes, thank you for your assistance. I owe you one for that.
Morgan just tips her hat and starts heading in the direction of the ship.
So I'm going to retcon it slightly, Dio. So it is a package of 500 gold hidden underneath a hidden box lid with a pair of this, what are they, the Sai, or the Sai weapons, the ones with the assassin weapons with the 3 prongs? Yeah. Yeah. So a pair of those just like placed on top of it. I was thinking of doing it in platinum pieces to reduce the weight, but yeah.
We know you do.
Morgan's going to approach the bird cautiously.
The vision of like Morgan like getting stir crazy a month into on this boat, standing out seeing the seagull and being like,
I'm
Unacceptable.
Ah, he's Godzilla. Oh, I forgot to mention, Tazik would have been training the rats and um, working with them, but mostly they're just guarding the ship, because I think my plan for them was attack, guard, and one other ability. So it would have been mostly just guarding the gangplank and guarding the runs up to the ship. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Good old-fashioned menagerie.
Except we have
More pets.
just say,
More
except we have
mascots.
2 rats and they're both male. It's a shit arc, but
No one said we were a good arc.
hey Dio, have you heard about the zoo with only one animal? It's a Shih Tzu.
Good.
Hey,
Oh. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, on that
Pretty
note,
darn
you might
close.
have a little bit of difficulty hearing yourself in a hypothetical situation where we were streaming this. So I suggest perhaps I should continue to vent and chat for 30 seconds while
yeah,
DM double
that makes
checks
a
a
lot
few
of sense.
things. Yeah, and in terms of vamping, I mean, I guess we're gonna need to create these documents. So there's a couple ways that
Yes.
we could handle this. Oh, so I mean, obviously, because we have the time for it, even though this could result in some failed copies, I feel like there's a reasonable petition that we could take 20 on this. But here's the thing. Yeah, which is reasonable.
Mm-hmm. Especially since we have access to erase to completely remove all traces of the text we need to
that's an
try
excellent
again.
point.
Well, we actually have effective
That's really
free retries because I can erase, like, I think it's 7 or 8 times a day I can erase, and then I can just sleep and we can do it again.
That's pretty great.
Erase is good, dude.
That's
Erase is
amazing.
so good. Erase is so good. Like, I will double check that, but I'm like 95% sure that's exactly what I can do. Yeah, it removes writings of either magical or mundane nature from a scroll, or from 1 or 2 pages of paper, parchment, or similar surfaces. It just removes them.
That's great.
Non-magical writing is automatically erased if you touch it, and no one else is holding it.
I love it.
Yeah.
Deus.
The downsides of taking 20 is I wouldn't necessarily be able to use my traditional resources, but I've got a hero point. So I feel like using the +8 not going to work for taking 20. But in this hypothetical, could I cash in a hero point to do the +4, since you can do that after a success?
That makes sense.
Right, because failures. Yeah, because failures and stuff.
If not, that's
It's
also fine. Yeah. I only say this because while Quint is actually like he's mechanically speaking taking ranks in linguistics, he's still figuring it out. So if he could leverage what he has.
Where is the forgery?
So
check?
it is
I remember what it
linguistics.
is.
I looked it up.
Yeah, I was just looking at the DC, and it's like it's not too bad. I
One of
don't
the few
think.
things Tastic doesn't have.
I don't know what's happening, but it's like I think it's cloning all of your voices and pushing it out my microphone now.
Oh, strange.
Is there an echo going on?
Oh, hey, interesting.
Not for us.
No, not for us.
Yeah.
I don't hear any.
Tears
I don't
or-
hear an echo on stream. I think we're good.
Yeah.
Okay, there's no echo on stream because like my OBS bars, like whenever you guys are talking, the thing literally labeled my microphone is bouncing up and down.
Curious.
Hmm.
Yes.
But you know,
Well,
it's
my apologies for derailing everything to discuss a linguistics check. It was the only thing I could think of in a panic. But yeah.
We could always take a 15-minute break if we need
no, I
to.
think we're good. Oh, I mean, we do
Okay.
usually take 15-minute breaks, but honestly, I'm just about wrapped on what I had planned for today, which was
Yeah.
the hook.
Oh yeah. You finna wrap this up, boy?
I
Yes.
think I'm good to wrap this up, boys.
Oh yeah.
All right, I think
All right, so-
I think we're good then.
Morgan, the seagull.
So Morgan will continue to stare down the seagull a la Western duel style as she's like slowly getting closer to this thing because she is indeed going a little stir crazy.
This thing tries to peck out my eyes or talk to me.
And hey, man, anything can happen. And she's gonna snatch whatever the bird is holding,
The bird,
or attempt to hold, or
the
attempt to snatch
bird
it.
does not flinch and just opens its beak and hands you the parchment.
Bird's got a hand? What the crap? Tastic shoots it.
That must be good eating.
So, interestingly enough, you take a look at this note, and I'm assuming Morgan is fluent in Common and can read. If not, this is going to be hilarious as you just like look at the funny squiggles.
Nope, I've got common. So yeah.
The note, the letter is addressed to the no good bilge rats who done sank the wormwood.
That could be anyone. We're in a pirate town here.
What's the wormwood?
You guys know what the wormwood is.
What's the wormwood?
I have no memory.
I don't know. Who
Nah,
talked
no, I know
about-
what you're talking about. All I'm hearing is go explore the dinosaur island.
We leave.
We leave. Crumple it into a ball. We leave. Fuck you and your hook.
taking the helm. Oh God.
Behold, as railroads appear underneath the boat. Bad.
Killed a mosquito.
Yes, sorry. To the no good bilge rats. Got it.
rats.
Okay.
Well, Morgan, what do you do?
I think it's addressed to Tasic's dire rats.
Wow. That is the wow.
Honestly,
I-
facts.
That
There's no dispute. That is a statement of fact.
that is a statement of fact.
Morgan is going to attempt to shoot the
The
seagull.
seagull's gone. It flew away.
Okay,
It's a bird.
fair.
They can fly.
Good try. She is going to. Would Tazik be on the ship at that point, or anyone else, or no?
Everyone else sounded like they were spending most of the time in town, but Tazik was coming back and forth a bit with the guns and his rats.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, Eldon wasn't gonna be paying for boarding,
okay.
so Eldon was
Tazik
sleeping
was
on the boat
most of the
somewhere.
time.
All right. Oh, perfect. So there you go. Three out of 4 ain't bad.
Well, I'll say if we're like 30 days in, I think Quinn's getting a little stir crazy. I think he's starting to wanna. He's spending more time around the boat, so he'd probably be around.
Oh, look at that.
He's running out of gold for alcohol and
He
hookers.
spent it all
Yes.
on the good brothels, and now he's down to the not so good brothels. And
He has 30 gold to his name.
if he's
which
there
is
for
a
another
small
week, he's
portion.
going to have to resort to the dank brothels.
Yo, same. I have like 31 gold.
All right. Well,
Oh, 26.
that was the night at the brothel.
Anyway,
She is going to report to them what she's just found.
All right. And so I mean, you guys have this parchment. What do you guys do?
what did it
To-
say? It just said to the
To the no
Bildrats who
good,
sank the
dirty
Wormwood?
Bildrats who done sank the wormwood. That's it. That's
And
what
that's
it says
it?
on the outside. It's sealed.
Oh,
So it's like a
okay.
unroll.
So
I mean, how sure are we this isn't a bomb?
Yeah.
Detect magic. I was just gonna say.
Yeah, that's why I didn't open it, because I'm like, yeah, no, Morgan got nothing to like.
And Morgan is actually more than smart enough to figure that out. Morgan is not a
where's
dumb
the hero
character.
when we need him? I break the seal. Boom.
No, no.
Hey, a scroll.
Listen, Ears Isekai Adventures, which is going to be like this whole like separate series.
We're gonna find him in like on Dinosaur Island in Pterosaur's
Yes,
nest or
so-
something.
Um,
He'd be like, "Hey, what's up?
like that scene in
I've been here
was
eating
it
fish and
Final
stuff."
Fantasy where like one of your characters were ripped up by a giant eagle and dropped in its nest. That's gonna be more Iru and Sly.
Classic.
He's living his best life
Yep.
as a baby pterodactyl.
Nice.
Yep.
He's getting a little worried though, because flying lessons are
Yeah.
starting.
So okay,
Oh,
so
right.
we're detecting magic on the envelope on the folded sealed note.
Okay,
Any magical
so I actually have
auras
to
or
look up a
nonsense
spell here
about?
really quick to confirm that.
Confirm it has a goddamn aura.
Well, it certainly does. I'm just trying to remember which one it is. I think this is the spell.
What school is delayed fireball?
Yeah.
I think it's called
Evocation.
Glyph
Let
of-
me tell you.
It's called Glyph of Fuck You.
Okay, there we go. So it's yeah, no, never mind. I guess well, it's oh no, okay, no, we're good. Duration permanent. Okay, yeah, it's giving off a faint transmutation.
Oh. as soon as we ping that, Eldon's like, I don't like it. I don't like it. I'm not touching it. I don't
Spook,
want it.
can you open this up for
I
us?
don't want it.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you, kids. That could just give you scurvy. Yeah, Spook. Hey.
Yes,
Faint
Yes, Father?
transmutation, he says.
Yeah. Well, how are you with the whole reading thing? You got that down?
the squiggles done make voices in my head, boss.
Oh, that's great to hear. Open this for us, and then I take 3 steps back.
Yeah,
I mean,
Dad?
it might not be a bad idea to use Owlbear because he has more hit points.
I'm with Quint on this one.
Now,
Alright.
I'm with Quint,
we've
dude.
established this here. You can refer to me as father, I suppose, as more of a religious overtone, but please don't call me dad. More importantly, though, if you keep doing that, no, I think it's best to learn by experience.
Don't threaten me with a good time, Daddy.
Yeah, that's this is a lot
Things
of
he learned from Grok.
Yeah.
Eldon's just thinking to himself, my conscience is clear.
Yeah,
Let the kid read
pretty
the
much.
letter. I'm just not.
So
I'm good.
he looks at the letter and
like this
says,
vibe.
no good dirty bildrats who done sank the wormwood. Well, I suppose that's us, innit?
And confirm.
Quint like chokes on his drink, and he's like,
Can't confirm.
and he looks around. Yeah, that was us. Upon seeing there's no one around.
You guys are in the middle of your private ship.
Yeah.
On your private, on your semi-private dock.
All right, private ship. It's a little cozy. Let's be honest. Somebody could be parked next to us, and they could hear the whole
Guys are in,
thing.
you guys are in the
there's a
kitchen.
seagull on deck.
All the action in the Wormwood happened in the kitchen,
Yeah.
so I just imagine y'all are crammed into the galley.
Oh no! Oh no! We're not opening this letter below decks. Are you kidding? That's crazy.
The galley in the Bismarck Pleasure is a closet. Like,
Yeah,
squeeze
actually.
on in.
Okay. Well, why are y'all standing so far away from me?
Oh, are you familiar with magic? It's fine. Like I said, we're this is some kind of lesson, I think.
Well, okay. And he unfurls the scroll, the rolled parchment ever so slowly. And, he says, 4 pieces of aged cheddar, 3 wreaths of garlic.
That sounds about right.
7 barrels. Rum. Is this a grocery list? Am I to go acquire this?
Finish it first. Let's at least see how.
Might be a
Let's just
grocery
see. I mean, we didn't write this, so maybe when someone's given us a nice recipe that Quint can try out. But you may as well finish. You've already gone so far.
12. Hey, what's a kilogram?
It's a unit of measurement. I'm kind of shocked. I know, like, for the most part, I think the Chilaxian Navy primarily uses the metric system, so that's fine. It's like 3 of you.
Oh, thank you. 3 spokes of salt. This is a not very good recipe. A metric ton of limes.
Sounds like a good recipe for grog.
Do I need to continue?
Oh, please do. And like Quint's kind of like salivating. I'm a little intrigued by the cheddar, I gotta admit, but this is a hell of a grog.
Let's just keep forcing the DM to come up with random ingredients.
Okay, fine.
I can
Finish
see.
reading all the words. You
I
have to
can
read
see
every
from
word
here,
on it.
There's at least 13 more points on this list. Come on, use your words.
You need to read until there's a word we're waiting for. You have to read all the words on the
Kaboom! Well, Spook spends his time reading through each individual item, as the party slowly realizes that this is what he's reading is what would be pretty common for, a ship to take out to sea with them, a requisition of food.
paper.
Yeah. Ration. Whatnots.
Kind of manifest.
Yeah, that's it. That's the word I was looking for. A manifest.
Anybody else smelling something a little funny here?
I mean, we do need to replenish our stores.
I mean, this is where at this point Eldon is like visibly scratching his head. Like he's like, okay, hang on.
Is there perhaps a note at the bottom for which emporium we can buy this stuff from?
What in the hell's going on here?
Okay, Tazik's gonna grab the scroll from Spook and look over it a little more closely.
All right, Tazik. When you grab the scroll, you are greeted with a letter that says, "Dear no good scum-ridden bilge rats who done sank the wormwood. How's it going? Did you have a blast? I can't wait to hear more of it. You see, I find myself in a bit of a precarious situation, and I require a bit of assistance, and if you manage to both piss off Captain Harrigan and survive, and then get off his ship and still sink it, well, you're just the person I want to see. Please, meet me here, and in exchange for your services, I promise you the riches of a nation. Regards, E.O.
Tazik will retell this to everyone else. I'm not going to keep it a secret.
Haha. Okay, got it. Eldon's like starting to put the pieces together. He's okay, got it. I know what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, I'm catching up. Whew. No cause for concern.
Spook cracks the seal
Someone
and
knew
turns
exactly
into a
who
goat.
they were sending us to.
Listen, I wasn't taking chances. If it was gonna be anyone, it was gonna be Spook.
And he's kind of like using the safety thing. Like, is Dio willing to kill the kid?
Yes.
We called his bluff. We're calling his bluff. What'd you put in the letter, buddy? What did you do to the kid?
He turned him
Again,
into a
I will
newt.
clarify. Spook is 27 years old. He just looks like a child.
That's probably not too far off.
Yeah, when do halflings
30?
reach maturity?
I think. Let's see. I should know this.
We talked about this before, though, that like maturity. There's an argument that the ages of maturity are actually like a societal age rather than a physical one.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, it is hilarious to stop and think about the fact that like, you know, a character doesn't fully come of physical maturity until they're like 70.
It looks like halflings age at the same rate as humans, at least as like young ones.
Yeah, more or less.
Oh, one thing I do want to mention.
The point where you find out Tazik's younger than everyone on the ship by a significant margin.
Yeah.
Listen, rat folk, they're like a firework, you know?
Yeah.
Oh yes, we flare very bright.
Hard and fast.
And then
Like a
fizzle.
candle burning at both ends.
Listen, I have like a vision of Tazik's like epic final moment with him like covered head to toe in like grenades and sinking, killing himself sinking the ship he's on to kill the captain, you know?
It's like my favorite 8-year-old shit. I'm trying to think of a proper way to say this.
Dio, I'm more thinking
No, there's no way
like,
to say it.
Like that 8th Star Wars movie, the one that wasn't very good, where they like hyper warp into the enemy ship to destroy it.
Yes.
I'm thinking
It's
something like
amazing.
that, where like Tazik's final stand is taking the ship and ramming it into another ship, but somehow making the entire ship turn into explosives.
I love it. I love it.
Somehow he says,
Love it.
we know how.
What you
We
don't
know
know
how.
is secretly Tazik's been replacing beams of the Besmara's pleasure with C4.
It's just painted
Yeah.
brown.
Is that why it smells like fresh paint down here and I get a headache every time I take a nap? Shut up, Spook! Yes,
Spook, get in the lifeboat. We're leaving.
you guys get a room? To be fair,
Spook,
where is
you did
Spook
good
gonna be
reading that.
sleeping
Now-
if not the lifeboat?
Now, please clean the entirety of this boat.
Sir, I've already done it 3 times today. It's not very big.
Perfect. Then you can get it 3 more times.
Yeah, yes.
That's just efficiency.
Yes, father, right away, sir. And he just like cracks a smile and begins cleaning the ship.
I'll take father. That's acceptable, I guess.
That's what you said, father.
I mean, now we're getting to some religious stuff.
Listen, you guys are on the ark, okay? Like it was bound to happen. All right, and so I should include that the map does have a very, very well drawn, the parchment does have a very, very well drawn map of a part of an island that none of you immediately recognize. So, do you have any knowledge, geography, or profession sailor, or any perhaps? Yeah, no, I think that would be good. Profession sailor.
The
and
answer
knowledge
is yes.
geography. Whichever works. Whichever's higher.
Let's take a look.
Yeah, sailor by a bit.
Let's see. Man, Eldon, didn't you just roll a
Nice.
2? Oh, 12. Okay.
12.
So 17, a 20, and a 28. Okay, so it's pretty good that the navigator here is the one who immediately picks this out. Well, you don't know the name of it, but looking at the map, looking at the small inscription on the parchment, and looking at the larger map that came with Besmara's pleasure once you acquired it, you realize that it's pointing to a little smallish cove on an island known as what was it called again? It's Devil's Arches. On the Devil's Arches.
Arr, we be going to the island of McDonald's.
And let me get Tazlik takes a permanent negative level. Okay, give me my.
Joke's on you. They come off.
It was colonized by the McDonald clan.
Where?
They're known for their eats.
How's this not working? I should be.
Patriarch Ronald.
Is that it?
I like that.
There we go.
And they're that terrifying enforcer known as Grimace. Or the burglar.
It's an island full of rogues, assassins, and bards who are clowns.
It's an entire pirate crew, and all they use is kitchen utensils sharpened to be weapons.
Yeah.
I can
Just
only get
spatulas.
so erect. Come on.
Oh, that's a bit thicker than I wanted, but yeah. There we go. X marks the spot.
Ooh.
That's not so
that's
far
not
at all.
so
It's almost
far.
like I intentionally chose a place that wasn't too far away.
And if you use the measuring tool, it'll
Boring.
show you exactly.
60 miles.
You take cares of us, Theo, and that's what I appreciate about you.
Is that what you
That's what he
appreciate?
appreciates about him.
Ooh, look, Sky.
And then railroads form underneath the ship, and you start rocketing towards the Devil's Arches.
Towards the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
You know what? Screw it. You know what? Let's just take that.
No. Leave it where it is.
Yeah.
Leave it where it is.
Oh wow. Okay, that's not what I tried to do at all. There we go. But I'll get an actual marker because there's going to be lots of maps and hearsay and little hidden treasures aplenty as this game progresses. So naturally.
Oh yeah.
Okay, what is happening? Why can't I get rid of that? Oh, is it? It's gone on. Okay, the X is gone.
Your X is
on
gone.
my screen. It still shows. Does anyone else see the cloud cover, or is that gone too?
That's.
It is gone.
Cloud
Okay,
cover
so
is
Season, I don't know
gone.
what I did there. I just tried to draw an X, and the clouds and seagulls disappeared.
Oh, I think I know what you did, and that's okay. I'll fix it between games.
I love you.
There's you can use the drawing tool to create a mask, and I inverted the mask to make it so that all the clouds stay within the frame.
That's probably what
That's
I did
fine.
there. Yeah, okay, that makes
Yeah.
sense. Because I was trying to draw on the X, so I'm gonna have to definitely get a token to mark treasure locations and things. But okay, well,
No trouble.
there you go, guys. That's pretty much all I had. So I guess actually, how do you guys feel? I want to hear. What are your thoughts about this parchment, this letter?
I mean, unless anyone has a better lead, that seems to be a good place to head to.
Quinn would actually say this out loud to the rest of the crew. He'd say, like, I don't know if you guys have noticed too much. I don't know if you spend too much time around Port Peril and such, but no one seems to recognize me. It's almost as though this is my first time passing through. And, well, this is really the first time I've received confirmation that anyone knows of me or our past exploits. So I can't help but wonder if this is somehow related. Maybe we've got some kind of benefactor out there keeping an eye out for us. I bet it's hard to say. I can only speculate.
Perhaps so. This is power. It's magic of some kind, but they had to know exactly who to send it to, which narrows down the field.
Well, to the cove.
To the cove, I take it. I'm getting real stir crazy, and I'm running out of booty.
Well, we're in luck. Just the other day, Quint and I managed to finish those documents, so I think I'm ready to take this thing out and see what we can get done.
Oh yeah.
Sounds good to me. Been getting stir crazy, spending too much time on these docks.
Get me off this dock.
Yeah, I've already gone broke, so it's
Gotta
time
go
to
find
leave.
some more
We
treasure.
gotta go find some more gold. I'm broke.
Straight up.
Yeah, I'm broke, man. We got the ship's emergency coffers left, and that's more or less
Let's
it.
get Quint some booty.
All right. All right. So
Yeah, that's my captain.
gonna have to figure out exactly how many squares you can travel per day. I know with most hex crawls, it's 1 square per day, or 1 hex per day.
Sure, it's 6.
Is you sure it's 6?
That sounds right.
Yeah, at the scale, because that was 10 miles, right? Oh wait, hold on, because if that's
So I think the ship can travel 1 square on land, but 6 on the sea. I'm pretty sure that's how it
is
works.
that how it works? That sounds accurate, but that might be. Let's see, does the PFSRD have anything about hex travel? Or traveling in general? Travel by boat. Let's see what it says here. I'm gonna have to look this up, but anyway, that's all I had for today. So I'm going to put us on the goodbye screen.
Ooh, hey kids!
All right.
Heck
Bye,
yeah!
everybody.
Bye.
Be sure to like and subscribe.
Always.